Number 4. A sinister agenda for America has been discovered in an old poem called A Man Who Lived in Leeds. I'm going to show the video of this poem and then we're going to have a commentary.
A man who lived in Leeds. Some say this rhyme doesn't mean anything. Others are not so sure. There was a man who lived in Leeds. He filled his garden full of seeds, and when the seeds began to grow, it was like a garden filled with snow. But when the snow began to melt, it was like a ship without a belt. And when the ship began to sail, it was like a bird without a tail. And when the bird began to fly, it was like an eagle in the sky. And when the sky began to roar, it was like a lion at my door. And when the door began to crack, it was like a penknife in my back. And when my back began to bleed, I was dead, dead, dead indeed.
Okay, so there was a man who lived in Leeds, okay? This appears to be referring to King George III, who reigned over Europe during the American Revolution, but it could be a Freemason leader as they existed in the same general area. The poem further down predates this one and mentions a man of double deed, rather. A reference to a double agent, or that they were commissioning a mission consisting of two purposes, perhaps. He filled his garden full of seeds. He filled America with Freemasons along with the seed colonists on a mission to plant or extend Europe to the American continent, hijacking our intended separation from Europe due to religious persecution by sending along agents with the intent to create a terraforming plantation, if you will, to build, farm, and literally create an extension to the British Empire with plans to eventually genocide us after it is finished. See the Georgia Guidestones, one of their list of plans for after this continent is constructed. And when the seeds began to grow, it was like a garden filled with snow. Seeds normally grow but can't in winter conditions. Therefore, it's saying that all our intentions to grow as a population were or will be in vain, as we're destined to be slaughtered. But when the snow began to melt, it was like a ship without a belt. That ship surely meaning the Mayflower. A belt is a specific area of land. We had no idea where we were going when we sailed and found America. We were just trying to escape Europe's persecution. And when the ship began to sail, it was like a bird without a tail. A bird can't fly without its tail. Its tail is used for direction, too. Since we were without destination, we were aimlessly sailing to any location as if we were a bird without a tail. And when the bird began to fly, it was like an eagle in the sky. The formation of America, a reference to the American eagle. And when the sky began to roar, it was like a lion at my door. Presumably the sky is going to roar because there will be a hostile takeover of America in the future very soon by way of war by Europe, as the lion is their symbol. And when the door began to crack, it was like a penknife in my back. Europe will crack the door in with force, wage war with us, to come and destroy us, all using our own forces, killing us. And when my back began to bleed, I was dead, dead, dead indeed. And we die, and they extend to our lands and steal it from us, making a few of us brutalized slaves under the New World Order of occult evil and regular human sacrifice, as we will be used to fill the need for. Notice their sadistic laughter, as they do not have 1 ounce of mercy for us. They regard us as stupid animals, even though the fault was theirs that we lack good education. For reference, here is the old version of the poem, which is ever so slightly different. You can tell it's older by the old British style of writing. the Old English style of writing. The Man of Double Deed by Anonymous. And it's not known who wrote this poem. It's really strange that way. It's like they kept their identities private deliberately, because they knew that people found out about this, they would be extremely irate. There was a man of double deed who sowed his garden full of seed. When the seed began to grow, 'twas like a garden full of snow. When the snow began to melt, 'twas like a ship without a belt. When the ship began to sail, 'twas like a bird without a tail. When the bird began to fly, 'twas like an eagle in the sky. When the sky began to roar, 'twas like a lion at my door. When my door began to crack, 'twas like a stick across my back, like the cops do when you're getting your back smacked with a billy club. They do the same thing in Europe. They're not allowed to have weapons. The police over there, they'll smack you down with a stick. When my back, it may be a hint to the origin of this poem, not to mention the Old English. Let's see. When my back began to smart, 'twas like a penknife in my heart. And when my heart began to bleed, 'twas death, 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 and death indeed. So, God bless America. May we survive the coming crisis and the New World Order, which is the New World Slave Order. Thank you.